What is up, Copy Squad? It's your boy Kyle Milligan of KyleTheWriter.com, and today we're going to talk about how to practice copywriting. And I put hint, hint, get paid. So basically, this stems from a question I got on YouTube, and the question was, when you first started copywriting, how do you push yourself to practice every day? How do you overcome the resistance to start practicing? So basically, the question is it's part of it goes hand in hand with how do you become a great copywriter? It's kind of one and the same, because becoming good at copywriting is practice. And that's because I believe that copywriting is a language that you must practice daily and you must immerse yourself in if you want to become skilled at copywriting. That's why I wrote a whole book about the language of copywriting called Take Their Money. You can get that book at KyleTheWriter.com/book. Let's talk about how to practice copywriting every day. There's three things you got to do. That's read a piece of copy a day, write a piece of copy a day, and come up with an idea a day. So today I've written some lift letters for a new promotion I've got out with Agora Financial. I've read past lift letters that I wanted to try to see if I could emulate what worked for those and use them in my own lifts, right? So I read some copy, I wrote some copy, and I submitted it. And now the third thing is come up with an idea. So just by writing those lifts, I had to come up with a subject line, a second subject line, and then some copy, and that's kind of coming up with an idea. Just coming up with a subject line is an idea, right? And then just now I came up with an idea okay, how could I use New, Easy, Safe, and Big to promote a personal trainer services? And I just blap, 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 blap. So when I say come up with an idea a day, that's what I'm talking about. Whenever you have an opportunity to flex your copywriting muscle, do it. Right? Just do it. Those three things. Do that every day. Read a piece of copy, write a piece of copy, and come up with an idea a day. It will help you become better at this. You just need to constantly be practicing new, easy, safe, and big. Okay? And you can do that no matter what it is that you're selling. That's part of your daily practice, your daily routine. If you just do those simple practices every day, that'll get you going, right? That'll get your momentum rolling and get you in the right direction. And you could try doing this rewriting copy for websites that you see, for instance. Whenever you visit a website, maybe what you might want to do is consider, okay, I see this website's copy. Maybe it's perfect copy. Maybe it's great copy. All copy can kind of be tweaked and changed a little bit, and just say, hey, how could I throw new, easy, safe, and big in there? So that's that's coming up with an idea every day, just scanning all the time and practicing. So the question is specifically, how do you overcome the resistance to start practicing? And I have a very direct answer for that, and it's in the hint. Get paid. They'll say, where do I start? And then someone on Facebook or something will say, well, you need to just write something. You need a portfolio. And the person will say, I don't know what to write. And they'll say, well, write a spec piece, basically a free piece of copy for a client. For me, I won't lie, that's never been a viable option for me. I can't find myself to be motivated to practice or work for free. It wasn't until I got the job and I felt the pressure was on and I had a responsibility to write good copy and I wanted to perform at a high level. I work at Agora Financial as a copywriter and I don't want to look like a scrub. So when I get a project, I just become intensely motivated to practice. And I still do the same three things, right? Read copy, write copy, and come up with ideas. And that's the basic gist of it. But what gives me the motivation to sit down and break down a sales letter is I have a job to do. So usually, all the sales letters that I was breaking down were usually the first batch were system back-end promotions that had made millions. And the reason I was breaking those down specifically is because I wanted to write a system back-end promotion and I wanted it to make millions. So I was specifically taking down those guys, all right? That's just part of the research process. Before I start writing, I go and look out at the world and see what it is that other people are doing. And then I try to emulate the things that I like the most about that, or whatever I think. I try to find ideas that would mesh very well with my idea or my project that I'm going to be working on. So before I started, I guess that's practice. Before I started the practice, I had a goal. And I think that's the hard part is it's really difficult. How do you know where you're going? How do you know what to practice, what to do if you don't have a destination, right? That's an age-old thing. How do you know where you're going without a map or without a destination? And I think what you got to do, it's almost find the client first, right? Find someone to write for first. And for me, I had to go get a job. I'm not the freelance hustler guy. Even though people ask me, how do I get my freelance client? If it was me, I started with credibility. I went and I worked with people where I could learn a lot. I built my portfolio on the job. And now people ask me. I don't go looking for people. I don't beg people to hire me. I don't send out 1 million emails a day. The question is, how do I break the resistance to start practicing copywriting? Well, it started with I knew the project that I needed to write, And then I got to work on writing that project. And the practice led me to that final goal. So maybe even if, let's say you don't have the capacity to go get a client, or you want to build that portfolio first. How do you still practice copywriting without a client? Or how do you get these copywriting exercises that I give you? Read a piece of copy, write a piece of copy, come up with an idea. How do you put those into practice with no financial motivation or anything like that? Okay, here's another frame of mind, okay? Consider this. When I wrote the back-end product that I just put out, it took me from November. It just went out on last Friday. That is a couple months, right? That's a couple months. I submitted it, I think, right around New Year's. So like half of November and December, I was writing no pay. There was only the hope that this would work. I had an idea and I started writing, and technically I collect my salary at Agora and the money I made from my past promotions. But when you really think about it, all the work I was doing, there was no money guaranteed, okay? So it would help if you're not already flat broke and without a job. I read that, I don't know, maybe this is true, maybe not, but it seems right, that if you're stressed and you're broke and your back's against the wall, your creativity suffers. If your back's against the wall and you're broke and you're like freaking out, you're not going to be able to have that patience and creativity and really do a good job. So I say, have a stable income. So 1, I have a foundation. I'm comfortable, I'm not freaking out. 2, I've been watching Kyle Milligan's YouTube videos, and I think I am interested in the financial copywriting space. I'll say, disclaimer, I was not interested in financial anything. I have a couple stocks to my portfolio. I am not like a heavy investor in stocks. As a matter of fact, I'm now trying to get into the real estate game. So I'm not even like a big stocks guy, but I still write for financial newsletters because I'm writing to customers' pain points. I'm not trying to teach them about the stock market. So you do not have to be like a stock expert to write for financial copywriting. So before you ever start, you first practice. You first go find other people who are very successful in the health niche, who have sales letters, and you start to read their sales letters. And in the margins, you're doing active reading, which I teach you and take their money. Then you go do the same thing. Now you have a goal. I think that's really what's important, is you have to have a goal. You have to have a focus. You can't just be aimlessly practicing copywriting. Like, if you do that, you're not going to get anywhere. You got to have a vision, dude. I said big vision, baby steps. Big vision, baby steps. You want to be a copywriter? You want to gross millions every single year and all that stuff? Well, you got to start writing copy. So how do you do that? Go ahead and find someone to let you write some copy for them. All right. And then you want to start doing it right. You want to do it the right way. If you put out some garbage, if you don't do research, if you don't check out other sales letters and find out what's working out there, if you don't, most of that time was spent doing research, reading other promos, breaking them down, looking online for pieces that support and proof that supported my argument, stuff like that. It doesn't come from here. The sales letter comes from the research. You just basically take what the audience gives you, you take what the market says, you take the information that's out there on blog posts and news articles and scientific journals, and then you figure out a way to craft an argument. All right, it's a lot of research in there. So that's why it's good to have a foundation and not be panicking and not be like, oh my God, my back's against the wall, I've got to write this copy now. I'm not a big fan of that. I don't think it's healthy, right? And for all the success stories, for every one success story you find on Twitter or Facebook or something like that, of people who did that, there's probably 999 people who were miserable and broke and got themselves in trouble for behaving like that. So I say start with the foundation. You need to create a goal. To create a goal, you need to probably go find someone to write for. It could be a job, or it could be just a freelance dude or someone you found online. You reach out to them and say, hey, I think your thing's great. I mean, that's even better if you're a customer coming to them as a customer. Say, hey, I think your thing's great. I'd love to write a sales letter for you and try to beat your control just because I love you so much and I know your product inside and out. That's flattering and maybe helps the other person make money. So then you have a reason to practice. What's that resistance to practicing? The resistance to practicing is there's no reward in this for me. Nothing's guaranteed. But however, if you at least have some sort of goal, when this goes out, I can make a bunch of money. That's so much easier than this idea of doing spec work where it's oh, this would be great for my portfolio. That portfolio isn't worth jack. So I think that's another thing. Start somewhere where you're secure enough that you can take your time, do it right, do the research, but at the same time you have to be actually taking action. Sitting around reading theory and reading books and pondering and pontificating about copy, it's not going to make you any money. So if I could stress it to you, immediately find a way to put yourself in a position where you have to come up with some copy, and that should probably be getting a client or a job who requires you to write some copy. That's all I got. Thanks so much for tuning in. Peace out.